Think the Culture and Animals Foundation. Think, create, explore, celebrate.
Hi, my name is Victoria Reshetnikov. I'm a research assistant working at the Culture and Animals Foundation this summer. So today I'm joined by Suzy Gonzalez, who's a 2022 grantee for CAF, to talk a bit more about herself and her work. So hi, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today.
Hi, Victoria. Thank you for having me.
I know that your Chicana identity figures as a major part of your work. Could you please talk a bit about what this identity means to you and what perspectives you think Chicana artists can bring to contemporary American art as a whole?
Yeah, that's interesting because I was also I'm thinking about also how it relates to like veganism and the kind of mission of culture and animals. And for me, a big part of that was like this concept of decolonizing diet, reading Luz Calvo and Cadriana Rueda Esquivel's book a few years back, and before that, their manifesto of what happens when people immigrate to the US and what happens to our health and our bodies, and how that kind of vegan movement aligns with food justice and understanding that, those with particular identities who have been marginalized, by the powers that be, aren't always able to access the foods that are not just healthy, but also culturally appropriate. For me, I look at mestizaje, also this like super colonial idea of the caste system that was kind of put upon our ancestors of putting us into different racialized groups, which would then for them justify a treatment of different people, right? So, and how that still plays out. And for me in my work, I kind of play with that with different materials, like playing with different paints that have European origins, different materials that have indigenous to the Americas origins, like the corn husk. I'm real interested in those material origins and also like the food origins, and how we can really look back, and we're kind of responsible for studying and understanding and knowing where the things come from, right, that we consume or that we use, and how for me it plays into the concept of the work as well.
Another major component of your work that I've noticed is the decolonization of art that you take up. So could you talk a bit about why this is necessary and how you feel your work does this?
Right, so decolonizing or like this, or re-indigenizing, right, it is relevant to every aspect of our lives. I think my work has moved away from like wanting to say like violence against animals is wrong, and because that was just like a lot on my heart. More power to folks who are willing and able to do that kind of work, because that is needed also, right? And also those doing that work with human rights. But for me, it's kind of moved into this like let's talk about plants and how much we love plants, and how Mother Earth, Madre Tierra provides this for us, and how we need to give some love back to her. Yeah, I think for me specifically, it's getting into that like idea of yes, what we consume, but also looking at our history, right, and representation. And there's so many aspects. It's like a web of things to analyze, to tackle, to deconstruct, and work towards decolonizing. And there are some things, of course, that have colonial roots, and it's like, well, I don't know if it's possible to decolonize a museum institution, a system, right, that is so rooted in violence. And so what we can do is our best, right? And just in the end, it's about uprooting structures that have not been working for us, and having a new world perspective, and encouraging that in those around us, to know that there is a different way, right? This isn't the only way.
So a lot of your work is also geared towards a public audience, which I've noticed. You've done a lot of murals and you work a lot with zines. So I was curious what your push is to these more public forms of art making, and maybe how they coalesce with your decolonization motivation. And more generally, do you have a set of notions around public art?
Yeah, I love public art, and I think I've gotten into it because it's so much is like for the people, right? It's accessible. It's not something you have to pay entry into one of these like museums to feel like you belong there. It's in people's communities. So I try to make images that are uplifting, that are positive, that are joyful, but maybe they also have some sort of politicized like undertones. If you really get to know me or talk to me about it, or read an artist statement or something, I'm trying to do more works that have portraits of people that live in that community on the wall there. And I've seen that be really meaningful to folks. Unfortunately, that is still a new thing to see ourselves, right? And then also looking back again to thinking like in the decolonial art perspective, cave art or petroglyphs, or like, you know, these things that we call old murals, ancient art, that have survived, and those are super inspiring to me. I want to visit more to get to see the white shaman in West Texas a couple of years ago, and understanding and knowing that I'm continuing that kind of lineage, this instinctive desire to paint on walls and surfaces and like what's around us. You know, there's a certain maybe type of person that people think of when they think of an artist or they think of a muralist. And I think to see me doing that also helps people see like, oh, I could do that too. And it is a really different way of working because it's public too, right? You're going to be talking to folks walking by. It's almost performative. It's not like you're just you in your studio, right? So it does become collaborative by nature of getting folks feedback and also, of course, the necessity of like talking with that community before getting started, and you know, making sure that it's something that's wanted there, right? And with zines, you know, as I started getting more into like curatorial work, I realized that I was always kind of curating by making zines, which is something I've been doing for, you know, over 10 years. Maybe folks have never had an opportunity to exhibit their work or to speak their poetry out loud or something. I'm giving a place for that, offering that in a different kind of way, right, where it can be published and distributed. That has always been, you know, fulfilling and something I want to continue doing.
So how do you conceive of non-human animals or animal rights in your approach to art? And I know you said you moved away from it a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think that encouraging like a connection to plants and plant foods and plant medicines naturally removes from animal violence, right? We like it, the scale kind of moves. So the more people engage with the earth, I think it's also recognized that like animals and us and, you know, non-human animals are of the earth. But what I am excited for with the Culture and Animals Foundation grant is this new series I'm doing of animations that, you know, I've done a couple, but I really want to focus on BIPOC scholars, activists, writers, intellectuals, right, in the field of this overlap of human and animal rights, and giving them this platform of an interview, having the visuals be attractive, the topic will be something that I think more folks will be able to relate to, covering a wide field, right, of food justice, racial justice, feminism. There's so many paths, right? I'm like, well, why do people go vegan or plant-based? And so letting it be open to all of those different kind of concepts, and letting it be a dialogue rather than like, I'm right, you're wrong. Like, it's complicated. Let's talk about it. Let's see maybe what kind of like life, small or large, you know, life changes we can make to just try to do better for ourselves and the planet. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to continuing that series and getting some more folks on board, and just people who I really respect their work. And I love working with authors and scholars in that like kind of collaboratively.
Well, your work is very inspiring. It's really wonderful to see. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I'm really looking forward to your project, and I wish you luck with all the interviews you're conducting and everything that you need
Thank
going
you so
forward.
much, Victoria. I appreciate it.